Been lit, boy. Everything goes.
We now return you to regular programming.
Welcome back, everybody. Today on the podcast, we have a very special guest join us today, Savanna Kinchen. I just found out how to pronounce it. First year being a Saints cheerleader. We're very excited to have you on. How you doing, Savanna?
I am doing well. How are y'all?
We're doing great. We're doing
Good.
really great.
Well, we're up here in the freezing cold, and I'm sure you're down there in the nice warm weather down there in New Orleans.
Yeah, it's not too cold. It's probably around 60.
Yeah, so
that's
Oh,
winter
gosh.
down there. That's winter.
me and my dad, we live in PA,
Yeah.
so it was like 6 degrees the past couple of days. And Ace is from Minnesota, so I can only imagine how cold it is where he's at.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Minus 60 by 60, and that's what it is, about zero right now here.
Yes.
So are you
Wow.
It's interesting.
you born and raised in Louisiana?
Yes, Baton Rouge.
Oh man.
You know your way around Bourbon Street?
Sort of.
I took Ty down to Bourbon Street. My wife, we all went down to Bourbon Street, and the first thing I told Ty is like, "We're gonna take you to Pat O'Brien's, but whatever you do, don't drink the Hurricane fast." And I think within one block, he finished it.
No.
It was bad.
I'm not a big drinker.
No
so I
spoilers.
think I
No
had like a quarter of that, and I gave it right back to you.
Yeah, done. You don't drink Pat O'Brien's Hurricanes fast.
The food was amazing. The food was amazing. Savannah, we're very excited to have you on. For those that don't know, can you give us a little backstory on you? Just where'd you go to college? Have you always wanted to be a cheerleader? How you got into it?
Yeah. So I went to college at LSU. I cheered there as well. I pretty much started cheering, my in junior high. Like 6th grade is when I started. And I cheered all throughout junior high, all throughout high school, and then at the collegiate level at LSU, and then now professionally.
Were you at LSU for the
That's
championship run?
awesome.
I was attending school there, but that is actually the year that I decided not to retry out for the cheer team.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was a really
Yeah, I know. I was like, ugh.
That's probably a whole
Should've
nother
stayed.
conversation. So did you have to try out each year then? Or were you on
Yes.
scholarship? Okay. Oh, wow.
We do get a small, I don't know if it's a scholarship or a stipend is
Yep.
the correct term, but yeah, we do have to try out every year.
Okay.
See,
Now-
I think cheerleaders should be part of the whole NIL thing. You all should get paid, just like the players get paid.
very,
Yeah.
very interesting.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we would disagree with that.
Now, I'm very intrigued. How do you try out for the Saints? Is it open invitation? Like around here, there's minor league baseball tryouts almost every year. You could just walk in and try out. Is that kind of how the Saints are, or do you got to get invited kind of thing?
Yeah, so it is open tryouts. Anyone that wants to try out can come try out. At least that's how it was this year. I'm pretty sure that's how it's been every year for the Saints.
I'm assuming a lot of people you compete against.
Yeah, there was a good bit. There was about 200 total, and then there were about 80 for the cheer portion.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if that's. Let me explain real quick because y'all are like, "What do you mean cheer portion?"
Cheer.
So this year they actually did something brand new, and they rolled out a cheer team to go along with the dance team. So we have Saints cheer crew, and underneath that umbrella you have dancers and you have cheerleaders that do the stunts, throwing in the air, basket tosses, stuff like that.
All the
The
dangerous stuff.
tumbling, backflips, yeah, pretty much. All the acrobatic stuff. And so we're actually the first team in NFL history to actually do that, to actually have dancers
wow.
and cheerleaders going at the same time on the field.
So we're the best organization.
It was very interesting. Yeah. it was really cool. So we did, it was the same tryout, but also different. They would
Gotcha.
have us together for certain portions, and then they would say, okay, all the stunters come over here. You're going to do your stunts. Dancers, you learn this routine for the dance portion.
Wow.
But yeah.
Now, how much pressure is on you when you're trying out? I mean, do you have to learn a routine quick, and do you just have to go out there? And, like, how do they judge that? I mean, if you have 15 girls out there doing it, like, how do they judge who's good and who's not good?
It's a good question.
It's a great.
I guess
yeah.
it just, I mean, they're looking for people that are entertaining.
Yeah.
Um,
Almost like a checklist.
and of course you have to have the skill level, but pretty much everybody who's at the tryouts has the skill level for the most part. So that they're looking for people. It's not just skills. They also have a day of interviews where you sit down and you're interviewed with each judge individually. They want to
Okay.
see if you can speak well, because they want to see how you're going to interact with the fans, and stuff like that. They're looking for very well-rounded people.
But like when you go out,
so-
do you go out by yourself in front of the judges, or is it like a group of you and they look at timing and how you guys are interacting and stuff like that?
It's both. So for certain aspects, like the stunting portion, you'll go out there with you and then whatever stunt partner they partnered you up with, whichever guy. So we would go out, just me and the guy, and we'll do our stunt for that portion. And then we also have a tumbling portion where you just go out by yourself and do your tumbling skills. And then for the dance part, if I'm remembering correctly, I had 2 other girls in the room with me dancing with me. So
Okay.
How that evaluation level, when you're trying out, how long is that and how hard is that try? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand how hard, cheering obviously can be. I mean, none of us in this room could probably do most of the stuff you do.
Well, and side question:
couldn't even do a cartwheel.
do you ever want to like backup dance for your favorite artist, so to speak? I don't know if that's even remotely similar to what you do for cheerleading, but I just figured like choreography and all that, singing, like ever backup dancing, not to derail the.
I could see myself doing it, probably. Probably more of the dancers, but I've had to learn a lot of dance this year, more than I'm used to, but that's good to get out of my comfort zone.
That question just popped in my head as you were talking. I'm like, I wonder if they ever get opportunities to like backup dance for an artist that's ever in town or something like that.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So how does that process
Oh,
work?
yeah.
So if you have, say you have 200 plus girls trying out, how does that work out then? Do they break it down like every other day they're cutting people and they get down to the final number?
Yes. So day 1 will be preliminary tryouts. And they pretty much, I think they cut it in half. After day 1, going into finals, or maybe more than half actually. And then you'll have finals, and then they make one more cut after finals. At least that's how they did it this past year.
Oh, wow.
Now, I will say they actually did something brand new this year with the tryouts, in that they actually filmed the entire tryout process and made a TV show out of it.
I did see
kind of
the
like
clip.
how the Dallas Cowboys have their show. We
Yep.
have a show as well. It's
That's
called
right.
In That Number, and you can find it on YouTube or any Saints network. It's called In That Number, and it's 5 episodes, and they pretty much take you throughout the whole process, and it's pretty cool. Each episode's like 10, 15 minutes, but it's an awesome show.
I seen the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader one before, and I don't want to say they're snooty, but the judges seem horrible. It seems like they're cheerleaders. They're the original cheerleaders in the Cowboys cheerleading squad, and it's just like they're so damn picky. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
It's a tough process. I mean, I was like, how can you even judge that? Because everyone looked good at what they were doing.
It is a tough process. And I got to see, actually, before we interviewed you, I got to see the video when you got accepted and you got the call on Zoom to be put on the team. Can you walk us through the emotion? Because if I'm not mistaken, was your mom part of the Saints cheerleaders or the organization?
Yes, she was.
Oh, okay.
My mom was a Saint Station back in the day.
Yes.
1997. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and she's always wanted this for me, and I never thought it would be a thing because I was always a cheerleader, not a dancer. And for the longest time, they just had the dance team, the Saint Stations. And so I was like, no, I'm not gonna take up dancing. I'm not gonna do that. I'm a cheerleader at heart. And then about a month or 2 before tryouts, they announced that they were gonna have a cheer team.
Oh, wow.
And so my mom is actually the one that told me about it. She was like, you have to try out. and I had been actually retired from cheerleading for a few years. I tore my
wow.
ACL, had
Ooh,
knee surgery, so I was out of the game for a while. And I was like, get back into it. I don't know. I don't
That's
know if my
amazing.
body can handle that. But I started training again, and hey, y'all know what
You made
happened.
it. Yeah, you made
That's
it.
amazing. You're able to make it right back. That's actually amazing.
Thank you.
That's
We lost
amazing.
Chris for a second. He'll be right back.
Oh,
There
my
we
dog
go.
Dallas just knocked the door open.
So your first season is in the books. How was
Mm-hmm.
it? An overall review? Like, is it everything you thought it would be? Was it a little challenge or?
It was amazing. I absolutely loved cheering in the Superdome.
How loud is it in the dome? If you just say it real quick.
Oh,
It's pretty loud.
Gosh, I'm dying to go.
It's very loud.
It's on my bucket list.
now let me ask
Yeah,
you.
you have to go.
I mean,
I've
if
been
there's
there.
one
I've been there
question,
several times. Look at him.
What?
yeah,
Oh, he's just in his glory. He's loving this. But are you a cheerleader now for life, or do you have to try out every year now?
That's a great question. And I get that question all the time. But we actually do have to try out every single year.
That's
wow.
crazy.
It's not, so you can make it a lifetime career, if you keep up with your skills and you stay in shape. But they do require us to try out every year. I will say a lot of people think that's a negative thing, but I actually like that because it just makes sure that we all keep our skills, stay in shape, and
Yeah.
not get complacent, because if you get complacent, that can bring down the entire team. So if you know that you have to try out every year, you're going to keep up with stuff, and the team is just going to get better and better and better each year.
That's a good way to look at
You
it.
know, that's got to be tough because that is the city that just has the best food in the world. Beignets in the morning, Cafe Du Monde, and you
Oh, that
have
was
red
so
beans
good.
and rice. You have all that food
yeah.
down there.
Mhm.
That was so good.
God.
That is true.
Jambalaya?
Our
What
food
about-
is amazing.
Oh,
yeah, some
jambalaya, po'
jambalaya,
boys.
crawfish.
But I thought cheerleading was just like football or any other sport where basically when you made it, they signed you to a contract. That's surprising that you have to actually try it every year.
Yeah, we get signed to a contract, but it is for that particular season.
Okay.
Now, would you be able to take us
Do
through
you
a
have a
quick? Go ahead, Ace. Actually, go ahead.
I was just going to ask favorite sport or favorite team. Like, are you a huge football fan or?
And you can
you
say Dallas
prefer-
Cowboys. I mean, the Saints don't listen to this podcast.
What about the
Well,
Vikings?
definitely the Saints
Yes,
would
come
be
on.
my favorite team. But actually, I do enjoy watching basketball.
Oh, really?
Sixers
Okay.
fan?
Yeah. I like the Pelicans.
Okay.
Okay.
That's actually
Yeah.
really cool.
I mean, New Orleans.
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. Zion
well,
Williams,
hey.
Yeah.
you know.
I was gonna, show her the jersey.
Oh,
All of us want Zion back.
I liked him in college, so
Yeah.
I had to get the jersey when he got drafted by New Orleans. Come on now.
Nice.
Now, Savannah,
Nice.
how long does your season last? Like,
Is there an off season for you, or are you guys doing charity work, or how does that look?
does it stop when football stops?
So our practices do stop when football stops. So we aren't holding practice anymore. But up until tryouts, we do continue to have appearances and do the charity work and just appear at different Saint-sponsored events. So they'll have us do that periodically throughout these next few months.
So you don't have.
How tough is it, Savannah, living in a state where hurricanes come through all the time, and you see the devastation? Do the Saints and you guys as an organization go out and do outreach and help the needy and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we do. And unfortunately this year, because of the COVID restrictions, we weren't able to do as much one-on-one with the community, but we usually work with Rouse's. I don't know if y'all know what Rouse's is, if y'all have that.
We don't know.
It's a big grocery store.
Oh, I gotcha.
So we'll do like meal packaging stuff, Zatarans. I don't know if you're familiar with that brand either.
Heard of it.
But we'll do like boxing up meals and stuff. I actually got to do, it was really cool. I got to participate in a meal distribution for AmeriHealth.
Oh, wow.
AmeriHealth is one of our sponsors. And I got to do that with another one of my teammates. And then Traquan Smith,
Yep.
he was
What?
doing that event with us. It was really cool. It was a really fun thing. But yeah, hopefully I'm looking forward to next year because hopefully with everything dying down, we'll be able to do more.
Yeah, and we're going to the Super Bowl next year, so that'd be a great year.
Now,
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not trying to wish any like bad luck on you, but like say you tried out next year and you didn't make the Saints team, does that give you a chance to go try out for another team, just like football, like free agency?
Or even the basketball team, if that's how.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they have. I think you can try out for as many teams as you want. It's not like.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, you tried out for them, you can't try out for another team. I think you can try out for as many as you want.
That's actually really cool.
Okay.
Are you able to take us through like a quick summary of just a day in the life of a cheerleader on game day Sunday?
Only game day Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, you know, this I don't know.
No, that makes sense. Sunday would be, yeah.
Okay, well, it's actually funny that you asked because I actually have a YouTube channel where I do game day vlogs. And so I actually take you guys through the day of the life of an NFL cheerleader on game day. So I'm going to tell you all about it, but you can also go back and watch.
Absolutely. We'll put in the description so everyone else can check it out too.
Yep.
Now I have to I have to ask you a question.
Let her finish first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I thought she just wanted us to go to her channel. I thought she was trying to promote her channel. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, go and watch it, but I'll walk you through it real quick. So I'll start with when we get to the dome because we usually get there around 5 hours before the game starts.
Gotcha.
5 to 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. So we get there. We usually have to go straight to hair and makeup. They have a hair and makeup team. Well, a hair team and a makeup team is separate, and they would do our hair and makeup, which is really awesome. I didn't have that on any other cheer team, and I love that. So we get there, we have set times for hair and makeup, a whole schedule, like, you know, Savannah's with this artist at this time and this person at this time. So you get your makeup done, you get your hair done, and it's scheduled out based on what kind of appearances you have. So we have appearances throughout the day leading up to the game, like running the flags, we do like a meet and greet. We'll go into the suites and just interact, mingle with the fans. They have different appearances for different games. And then we also have a Champion Square performance, which if you don't know what Champion Square is, that is an area right outside the dome, and they have a big stage. And it's kind of where a lot of people will hang out and I guess tailgate before the game starts.
Yeah.
They have bands playing, everybody's dancing.
Sounds like a good time.
And it's a good time. And they usually film it and put everything on TV. But we always perform at Champion Square.
Oh, okay.
So we'll perform and then come back, and then we might have 30 minutes or so, and then the game starts.
Wow.
Now, do they still have the state fair in the dome? And do you guys have to partake in that?
Still have the what?
The state fair inside the Superdome?
I don't know.
It's okay. You can say no. He's old.
See, when I was down there, they always had the state fair inside the Superdome, and we would go, and they had like carnival rides. That was like the huge thing down there. So I just wondered if they still did it, and that you guys had to show up and be a part of that. Just a question. I'm sorry.
I don't know, but if they don't, they should do that because that sounds like a really fun time.
It does. It does. I wasn't bashing on you.
Yeah. Now, how tough is it? How tough is it dealing with fans? Like I've been to professional baseball games where you scream your head off at the outfielder and he won't even look at you. Are you guys instructed like not to interact with certain fans like when you're on the field? Because let's face it. We live up here in Pennsylvania, and we have the filthy Philadelphia Eagles down the road from us, and, you know, they're the worst fans in the world. And I'm sure they harass you guys all the time, cheerleaders in general. Is that a tough part of your job?
So I'll talk about off the field and then on the field, because walking around, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it can sometimes – you just have to be aware of, okay, there's going to be – crazy fans. It's game day. People are out of their minds.
Drinking.
They're acting crazy. They're drinking. So we just have to be aware. And we usually 9 times out of 10 will have security with us, watching our every move and the fans just to make sure that we're always safe. So I've never been in a situation where it's gotten to be too much. And then on the field, we're a pretty far distance enough to where, I mean, they don't really get to us. Sometimes, like if we're on the visitor section, sometimes it can be a little like, oh, will they just stop? But it's not too bad. It's not bad at all. It pumps me up, honestly. So
Well, I guess travel. That's probably a good question too.
I was actually
travel.
gonna ask that too. Go ahead.
So you do end up traveling with the team, or not with them? Maybe.
No, surprisingly, no. And that is my number one question I get asked all the time is, so do you travel to the games? And actually going into it, when I first tried out, I thought that we did.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that we did because, for college we'd go around to the different college games and travel with the team. So that's what I was used to. But actually in the NFL, when you go to like someone's home, they have their cheerleaders in all four corners.
Gotcha.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So just like how we have cheerleaders in all four corners, so do they. And so if we went to the game, there would be nowhere for us to stand.
Yeah.
Wow. So you just stay home and watch the game at home?
Yeah. Well, we actually traveled. About a third of the team traveled to the Saints versus Jets game.
Really? I was supposed to go to that game. I didn't go.
Welcome to New York. Cold and windy.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it was very cold and windy. And we made a little trip out of it. It was awesome. And I did vlog the entire trip. It's also on my channel. But yeah, we went to that game and we got to experience the game as fans and all sitting together, and it was so much fun.
What's a better atmosphere? And in my mind, I know what I like, but what do you like, college football or pro football? Because I think college is the best. I really do.
I mean, the dome though, that's different. You know?
But college.
As a cheerleader or as a fan?
Either. I mean, I just
tough.
think the college atmosphere is so much better.
Oh, it's hard decision.
Well, okay, as a cheerleader, wouldn't you say college? Because I feel like maybe you wouldn't have more freedom. I don't know. I just feel like with professional. Well, I'll let you.
No,
speak.
okay. So I actually enjoy both. No, don't get me wrong. Both experiences, amazing, really good time. But I will say, cheering professionally in the dome is just a whole next level because we actually do not have any regulations or restrictions for what we can and can't do as far as skills go. So with college, they have regulations. You can, do a certain amount of twists in this, or, if with a pyramid, you can only go this high in a pyramid, stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
We don't have those regulations because it is so brand new. Maybe one day they will have regulations, but because we just started this year, we didn't have any regulations. It was a little more laid back. We kind of just got to have fun with it, and so yeah, I did enjoy the experience as a cheerleader better professionally.
That's a good answer.
As a fan, I don't know. I guess it just depends on the game.
I guess it comes down to.
It would have to depend on the
tailgating.
game.
I guess it comes down
I
to
just
like
think the atmosphere.
Well,
I mean,
like,
you hear 100,000 people singing, jump around, and everything. It's just.
Well, I guess
Look
it's
at that. Almost knocked the camera.
It's kind of like what was the better crowd? How about that question? Is LSU's crowd better or the dome?
Well, I'm a foodie, so I would probably think LSU might have better tailgating for food options. Alligator, I don't know what the heck they put on the grill. But.
Yes, there is nothing like. Yeah. So there is nothing like LSU tailgating. That is definitely an experience that I loved about it. And I actually have never tailgated for a Saints game, so I don't really know much about being a fan for that aspect of things. But I do like the fact that we're covered in a dome and there's air conditioning. That's really awesome. So if it rains, we don't have to worry about the rain.
That's nice.
If it's super hot, because we're moving around the whole time. If it's super hot, we're not drenched in sweat. So that's also super nice.
Yeah.
I like those aspects of it. And then as far as fans go, I love both, but I will say the Saints fans are more, it feels like more of a family.
Yeah.
You know, like the
Aw,
culture down in
aw.
New Orleans is just something else. If you haven't experienced that culture, it's
Yeah.
like if you're wearing that team, like it doesn't matter about anything, you're my family.
Yeah.
You know, like hey baby, what's up? Like it
baby,
is
what's up?
just
See, I
it
want.
is just such a family oriented culture, and I love it. I love it.
See, I went to a Cowboys Eagles game up here, and I couldn't even wear my Cowboy stuff because I was just afraid to. I mean, you hear the horror stories, and it's you're right about New Orleans. It's a totally different atmosphere.
Yeah.
And they do love you. They do
Yeah.
treat you with respect, but
Mm-hmm.
I still don't like the Saints. I'm sorry.
Well, Savannah, the last thing I'm going to say to you before I give the floor to them, if they have any last questions, is I want to applaud you because I love how open you are with your faith. I love when
Oh,
you
yes,
see
Christian, love
people. I love when you see people like MLB, NFL, cheerleaders, whatever kind of high stage that they could be on. Giving God the glory and just praising Him. I love that. So I wanted to applaud you for that.
Well, thank you.
Christianity is a great thing.
Yeah, it is the best, and that's actually the why for my being on this team.
Yeah.
You know, I prayed a ton before tryouts, before even deciding I was going to try out, and I said, you know what? If it's the Lord's will, He's going to put me here, and if it's not, He's not.
Absolutely.
And He's got other things planned. But it was obviously in His will for me to be on this team.
Yeah.
And I've definitely been able to see why.
Yeah.
It's putting me in certain positions where I can be just a voice and, you know, tell certain truths that, you know, certain people might not. You know, you go on all these social media apps and there's all this just perversion out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Just
there's
Satanism's
so
everywhere.
much
a lot of hate.
everywhere. And so I saw it as an opportunity to share the light, share the truth, share the gospel with
Yeah.
people.
I love
Oh my
that.
God,
And,
we could do a whole podcast on
That's
Christianity.
yeah,
really
that's
could.
very well said.
I would love that. Please get me
'Cause-
back on for that podcast because
'cause-
I could talk about
oh.
God all day.
You
know,
like,
people, and I don't want to get off base here, but people do not realize how close to the end we really are. You know, I watch the news.
Yeah.
I watch Samir Savarte, Jack Hibbs, and Israel's our time clock. And what's going on in the Middle East, it just, oh God, people need to wake up. They really don't
Yeah.
realize just the way the stars
Yeah.
are aligning and the book is being told, and it's a story it's going to come to an end sooner or later.
yeah,
That would be a
That's
great
exactly
podcast.
right.
I would definitely do that with you. Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
That'll be a
please.
branch. That'll be a branch of our sports. Like we'll just create a production company. That'll be the branch. We'll have the sports segment and then the
'Cause
Sunday
it's the-
sermon,
it's the
like a Sunday
truth.
sermon.
Everywhere
Yeah.
you look, I mean,
There's so much-
it's perversion.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
much hate. It's so much hate in this world, and it's just nice to see people showing light. That's really what it is. It's what we're
I
called
mean,
to do.
I control our Twitter app, and I went on Twitter. I had 3 messages the other day, and it looked like it was normal people. And as soon as I clicked on the message, it was nothing but porn. I'm like, what the heck
Yeah,
is
all
this? I
those
don't even know who these
spams.
people are.
It's all those
So
spams.
I was like, this is ridiculous. But you're right. It's everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's horrible. It really is. It really
Yeah.
is. So,
Yeah,
so what's next for you after cheerleading?
Ooh.
that's a great question, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I've actually gone through. There's been a lot of changes. I actually didn't even become a Christian until 2021.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong
Oh,
with that.
wow.
And well, it's crazy because I was raised in the church. Thought I was a Christian my whole life. I was a professing Christian my whole life.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until 2021 that I actually became one. Because I didn't even really know much of anything. I just kind of went through the motions, did the stuff, you know,
Oh, yeah.
prayed the prayer and
You
was
joined
like,
the
oh, I'm
cult.
in.
You joined the Christian cult.
I'm in. Yeah, like I prayed the prayer, I'm in. But like, no.
It's a lot of us are like that.
But you know what's
that's
amazing?
not what it's about. And like I thought it was about what I was doing,
Yeah.
you know, and it wasn't until 2021 that I made the realization that it's about what Jesus has already done.
Yep.
You know, it is finished,
Yep.
you know, and
Absolutely.
none of that like made sense to me until this past year. And I actually also posted my testimony. So if anybody is interested in hearing about how that happened, what led to me hearing the gospel and understanding it for the first time, I have that on my channel as well.
That's awesome.
I'll check out your
but-
testimony if you check out my Christian TikToks I make.
Okay. All right. I actually don't have a TikTok.
Oh, never mind.
I deleted it,
It's all good.
but
Good choice.
you can
Great
you can
choice.
send
Good
me.
I had to do the same.
So did I.
I'll still
Yeah.
check it out, though. I'll definitely check it out.
But the reason I bring up my testimony is I explained it in there, but I was on a completely different track. I was on a law school track. I even took the LSAT, did all that, got the recommendation letters, and then realized through reading the Word of God, the book of Ecclesiastes, that pretty much it was all vanity. It was all about the money, the power, the status. And so I was like, okay, Lord, whatever you want to do with me in this next year, do it. And then the cheer tryouts came up maybe a month later.
Wow.
So, but as of now, I am highly considering going to seminary and getting my master's in theology or in biblical studies.
Wow, that's awesome.
That'd be awesome.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
Because then you can educate a lot of people out there, because there's a lot of people out there that
Yes.
just don't understand what's going on, and they're not going to know.
That's right.
When the rapture happens and the good ones go, they're going to use the whole alien thing as that's how they all disappeared. And you never heard about you never heard about aliens in the news, and now all of a sudden it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could really touch a lot of base on that stuff. But you know what? It's amazing because he does grab you at the right time.
Yeah.
I used to go to work and they allowed us to listen to music and headphones just recently started, and I used to listen to grunge music, Five Finger Death Punch, the whole 9 yards. And then just one day out of the blue, it's just like it struck me like, why don't you try listening to the Bible? And I listened to the Bible from beginning to the end, and it changed my life forever. It changed my wife's life forever. It changed my son. You know, church is across the street from us.
Wow.
It used to be daycare for us. Our kids would be gone for like an hour and a half. That's daycare, you know? And it's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah.
people look at it as a cult.
I
but
love
it
that.
really isn't. It's not a cult.
No,
No.
it's amazing. I have the privilege to work with high school kids in the inner city for Winter Us, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So it's great to hear everything. Well, you guys have any last minute questions for her before we let her go,
Yeah, who do you think is going to win this week in the playoffs?
or the Super Bowl?
Or do you not even pay attention anymore because the Saints aren't there?
Yeah, I kind of stopped paying attention because we
good answer.
weren't in the
Good
playoffs.
answer.
But the thing is you don't just represent the Saints, you represent the NFL.
No, it's all about the Who Dat Nation.
No,
That's right, Tyler.
I have no other questions.
Yeah, this was a great
Excuse me.
interview.
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day, Savannah, to join us. We loved having you on. Maybe we'll have you on again, maybe
Oh,
sometime
I do
down
have
the road.
one
Yeah, go
question.
ahead.
I
Go
do
ahead.
have one question. Does it annoy you that people look at cheerleaders as sex objects and not athletes?
Yes, it does, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's horrible that,
That's a good-
people
yeah.
do. And that's one of my things. I don't think they should allow tailgating before games because you see people drink too
Or
much.
at least
they
have
get
a
drunk, they
limit
get
to
out
the
of control.
hours, yeah.
And it puts a lot of pressure on people like you. It puts a lot of pressure on people like security.
Security.
It's just,
yeah.
it's not a good look for the NFL. And
Right,
it's a
yeah.
shame. That's the downside of what you do. And I feel bad for you because there are, excuse my language, but
Terrible
there are
human beings.
terrible asshole people in the world. And it
Well,
takes real
okay,
thick skin to
Look at what's funny though. Look at the NBA. You could literally have a guy walk out on the court in the
Yeah,
NBA.
that's true.
That's the thing that's always surprised me is how close those players are to the fans in NBA. And not only that, but fans are sitting next to them on the bench
Yeah.
after the dude just got dunked on or whatever. Like, it's insane that they still allow that, even after what happened in Detroit. And there's been other altercations with, fans and whatnot dumping popcorn on players after games or
Yeah.
whatever. So
But Savannah,
that's a great question.
have you seen a change in attendance because of COVID and things that are going on in the world right now?
A change in attendance, you said?
Has there been less people coming to the Superdome?
Well, considering this was my first season, I don't really know what to go off of.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure,
Okay.
to be honest. because
So-
I wasn't there before COVID.
Let's be honest, they're a family. We know they sell out. They're not
Yeah.
Vikings fans. Fair weather, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every single game was packed.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Well,
So-
how is it now in Louisiana? Are they still allowing people to go out without masks, or like up here in PA in New York, it's mandated now. You have to wear masks going into restaurants again,
Really?
gyms, bars, the whole nine yards.
Nobody is though.
But no, it's becoming a law basically.
Oh, is it?
And is it like down there
Weird.
in the city that never sleeps?
It's kind of like how you just described it, where it's supposed to be a thing, but
No one's
it's
really
not.
doing it.
People aren't really listening. Some places mandate it, some places don't. In New Orleans, for sure. New Orleans, they want to see your vaccination card,
Wow.
the whole 9 yards. But I actually live in Baton Rouge,
Gotcha.
so it's not that bad. Some businesses require it, but not all.
Yeah, that's nice. Well, Savanna, thank you so much. We appreciate you having you on. It's been a blast. Hope you have a great night. Would love to have you on again sometime.
Christian podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Christian podcast.
Yes,
Definitely.
I
do
would
it.
love that.
All right, Savannah.
Thank you,
we
Savannah.
hope you have a great night. We're going to continue with the podcast, but you're more than welcome to head out. But we really appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for having me on. It was nice meeting y'all.
God bless and have a great night.
You too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Oh God, I love podcasts like that.
That was good. That was
Yeah.
good. We say that all the time too after a good interview,
Well
especially
done,
after
Ty.
especially after. Well, when I ran that by you guys, I love having the opportunity to interview people that we haven't had on before. Right? We've never had a cheerleader on.
I'd love to get an agent on too.
An agent, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be really cool. So it's cool for our fans. It's cool for us too. Like we said, like we get an inside view of what it's like, what they go through, what their life is like. Because on the outside of the glass, you have no idea. Like when before we had football players on, we thought some of them were annoying with the contracts. Then you get guys on that talk about the pressures that you go through, and it's just a really cool educational thing that we love to do.
Yo, and at the end of the day, too, I mean, they are athletes. They're not just people that stand on the sideline,
No,
shake
it's-
pom-poms. I mean,
it's-
they do. They get
That's
flipped
why
in
I
the
said,
air.
yeah, that's why I
And-
said to her, we could not do almost everything that she does. It's very hard
Yep.
what
I
they
mean,
do.
she
Yep.
tore her ACL. I mean,
Yeah,
they have
when she
serious
said
injuries.
that was pretty amazing. She tore her ACL, took a break from cheerleading, and was still able to make
Yeah.
the team.
And not only that, I mean, someone's flipping you sometimes 15, 20 feet in the air,
That's a
and
lot of
you're
trust.
hoping they catch you when you come down.
It's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a great point. Is I didn't know there was restrictions in college in terms of like how high you can go, how many people you can build a pyramid on. When she said the Saints are the first team to ever have like a cheerleading squad,
With
Yeah,
dancers,
yeah.
yeah.
they have no restrictions, which is crazy.
That's,
and
I
pretty
was shocked
cool,
to
actually.
even hear that there were restrictions in
Yeah.
college. Like that's kind of strange. I thought to have restrictions on how many flips
The
you
only
could do.
thing
And
we didn't ask, and I just thought of it now, is what is your practice schedule like? How often do you practice, and how often do they
Oh.
change the routine?
probably every day.
So Savannah, if you hear
Link in
this,
the blog,
you
link
can
it-
link in the blog. Yeah, but you know, I'm sure they don't do the same routine all season long.
No,
I mean,
it's
I'm
probably
sure they
new
mix
stuff.
it up. And another question I wanted to ask is like, if the Super Bowl is at the Superdome, do they represent the Superdome as the cheerleaders for the halftime show? Like, you know, you see the Dallas Cowboys
Yeah.
cheerleaders come out for the Super Bowl. Is it the home team's job to represent as far as cheering goes?
That's why you think of these questions now.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway,
All right. Well, into the NFL we go. Week 18 is officially in the books. Congratulations, NFL, for having the first ever Week 18 season that almost every player didn't want, but it
I
happened.
thought it was great. I mean, it came down to the wire. I mean,
it
it
did. There was
literally
a
came
lot-
down to the last game of the
There-
season between the Raiders and the Chargers.
It literally, Week 18 will probably go down in history with how many games, how many teams were set to go to the playoffs and how many of them didn't make it.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, the Steelers.
Indy?
Yeah, Indy.
That was what a meltdown.
We were talking on the podcast beforehand time that the average QBR is about 50%.
Oh,
I don't know.
yes.
I don't know if it's a season or a game. I think it's a game for a game. I don't know. I'm guessing that is.
Yeah, one individual game, it should be the average of 50.
And
I
Carson
think you're right.
Wentz's was 4.4. 4.4. Are those even real numbers? Like, but
The Steelers,
you got to
to
give
your
credit.
point,
You got to give credit to
go ahead with
Jacksonville.
the Steelers, though.
Giving credit to Jacksonville though. Jacksonville played a heck of a game.
I'm sorry, Gibby.
Jacksonville.
Steelers don't belong in.
Hey, Jacksonville got the last win of the game their last win of the season, and they still got the first round pick.
The thing that shocked me the most is the Detroit Lions beating the Green Bay Packers
with their starters in the first half.
That just goes to show you Dan Campbell, Coach of the Year. The team did not quit at all.
I'm telling you, Detroit has the perfect foundation right now. Like, they are gonna be a good team.
Yeah.
The Steelers,
I
agree with you. I don't know how the Steelers got in.
But the Steelers, yes, they got 100% lucked out because they needed the Colts to lose. And what? They needed a winner out of that late Sunday night game, and they got it.
Look, the only thing Gibby has to look forward for going to Kansas City
Gibby is our friend. He's our friend, Steelers fan.
The wind's going to be 14-mile-an-hour gusts. It's going to help Ben Roethlisberger throw the ball further than 2.7 yards. That's the only thing that's going to happen.
Listen, I like Big Ben. All respect to Big Ben, but Big Ben does not look good. I don't think the offense is good enough to win. Don't get me wrong. I think it was 2005 when the Steelers made the playoffs and they had that "we don't belong here" attitude, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So you never know. It could happen, but
I'll tell you what, the team that surprised me was the 49ers. They were trailing by 17 points. It was the largest deficit of the season.
Oh, my gosh.
And they fought to the end, and they eventually ended Ty's dream of going to the playoffs and Savannah, so I'm sorry.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something real quick. Let me tell you. I need you guys to look at me right here.
That was Ty's outburst, not Aaron's, because of the Vikings.
I hate the 49ers. You know why I hate the 49ers? The year I became a Saints fan, the Saints made the playoffs, and they played the 49ers.
Dude,
and we lost to the 49ers with a hard-fought game. There was a helmet-to-helmet hit that they didn't call him Pierre Thomas, and he fumbled. And, it was my first ever heartbroken moment as a Saints fan, so I have ultimate hate towards San Francisco.
I'm having a brain fart. What's the head coach of the Rams' name?
The Rams? McVay.
Sean
McVay?
Yeah, Sean McVay.
He was 45-0 when leading at the half. That was his first loss ever.
Do you know
leading at the half.
Do you know they're 0-5 versus the Giants the past couple of years or some crazy stat like that? Not the Giants, I'm sorry, the 49ers.
Well, the 49ers are a hot team coming into the playoffs, too.
4-5.
Hot take.
So,
I am on a hot take.
He's going to say he's going to beat
the
Dallas.
49ers.
Yeah.
Yo, let me tell you something, Ace. My dad and my brother.
Running to Lambeau.
My dad and my brother all day when I was watching the Saints game, we hope the 49ers win because we want to play them. Let me tell you something.
No.
Your defense is not stopping that offense.
First of all, I didn't say I wanted to play them. First of all, I said I wanted to get out of the 4th seed. I wanted to move up. I wanted to get as far as
you're playing the
second
49ers, who are the hottest team probably right now.
I'm glad. That brings back my whole thing was it feels like the 90s because guess what? We played them a lot in the 90s.
And let me tell you something.
I posted all their stats today on Twitter.
Jimmy G proved that.
I ain't worried about Jimmy G.
Hey, I ain't worried about no Trey Lance either. If you want to trade me, but I'm here to play.
Yeah. Dallas is 100% healthy, so we'll see what happens. If we lose, we lose. We lose. But you know what? My thing is I think the only thing Dallas has to worry about is a lot of their misdirectional plays. When you have an aggressive defense like that and you come in and they do a misdirection or RPOs or whatever, you're going to get burned. You can't play faster than you have to. You got to play smart defense. And if our middle push, our big fat boys in the middle get that push up the middle on Jimmy G, who has a sprained thumb, man, that could turn the game around.
Oh, Ace.
And they have to stop our offense.
Nobody's talking about the Cowboys defense either. And I feel like this could be a game they just shut out.
Nothing to talk about.
Ooh. Wait, Ty, you just said you hate the 49ers. Now he's come full circle.
I got a lot of Cowboy hate right now because I have a lot of Cowboys around me telling me they want my Saints to not get in.
This is the first time that 2 5-time Super Bowl champions are matching up in the playoffs. Ooh. It's the first meeting since 1994. It was the NFC Championship. The 49ers averaged 357.4 yards per game, which is 7th. That's the thing that scares me. We got to play smart defense.
They got good running back, good wide receivers. You're in trouble.
Okay. Anyway, Dallas played them. I put up their stats. If you go back and look at film from the 90s, look at NFC Championship games with John Madden calling.
Why are we looking at 90s games? Why are we looking at 90s? This is 2022. What happened in the 90s is gone.
Look, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that matchup,
long live Madden.
That matchup doesn't matter.
San Francisco's rush offense averages 127.4 yards a game, which is 7th. Dallas allows 112, which is 16th. Dallas, this is the key that I'm worried about right here.
You have to stop the rush.
Dallas's passing offense averages 284 plus yards a game, which is 2nd. The 49ers defense only allows 206, which is 6th in the league in defense. So that's going to be because San Francisco's front four defensively, they're beasts. They're solid.
Yeah.
So if Dak can overcome the pressure, which Dak is one of the best quarterbacks when he's being blitzed. If they drop back and they just use their front four, it's going to be a different game because Dak has shown over the last 5 weeks that he can't throw when guys drop back in coverage. That's my biggest fear.
I could see this being a shootout. I think if you can't stop the rush, you're in trouble. If Jimmy G doesn't throw interceptions, you guys are in trouble with that. Their offensive weapons.
If we can't stop their run, we're in trouble.
Their offensive weapons. Debo Samuel
Yep.
is so good.
It's
so
one.
good.
Him and Kittles. That's it. We have several.
And
weapons.
Ayuk, however you say his name.
We have several weapons on our
That's
team.
why I just said it's going to be a
We
shootout.
have several weapons.
That's
on
why
our
I said it's
team.
going to be a shootout.
It's gonna come down. And if it comes down to our kicker, we're in trouble. So, Zerline just is. Oh God.
Yeah, and this time more than ever, you need to rely on a quality kicker. That's a
Yeah.
great call out
This
there
is
because
my-
I agree it's going to be a close game.
My,
no
my
matter
biggest thing about Week 18, Ace, the Rams, 12-4, 12-4, and they looked like an 0-18, 0-17 team. Their defense, you have Jalen Ramsey, you have Aaron Donald, you have Von Miller, you have so many. Oh, and now they have Eric Weddle, by the way, who came out of retirement for the past year and a half. Yes, that's real. He came out of retirement just to play with the Rams in the playoffs. They might not use him, but you wasted all of your first-round picks to make this defense so great, this offense so great, and you have the 49ers come in. I get it, it's a divisional game. You looked like little boys. Like, don't get me wrong, they had some key plays, but they could not stop that offense. You were winning 17-0, 17-3 going into the half. You have a touchdown lead with 1 minute and I think 5 seconds left. All you got to do is win. And you couldn't. Hold them to a field goal, you couldn't. You let them big plays after big plays. Matthew Stafford looked like Detroit Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, and that defense, or not the defense, I should say, but not being able to match up against the team you're playing against, meaning like physically, you're going to get beat every time if you
Especially
can't match them
before
physically.
playoffs. I'm telling you, the Rams are
that
not
is
going to last
not a
long.
good look.
They're not going to last long in the playoffs.
And on the contrary, it's like I can't see them lasting long. The Steelers, okay, great season, Ben. You had your swan song 2 weeks ago with the Browns. Great for the league. You'll get in the Hall of Fame, but the Chiefs, come on. I know they got to play the game, but I just can't see that happening. And I think what's the other team? Who's the other? Well, honestly, I really think it's the Rams because the Cardinals.
I think the Cardinals are going to
I know
win the
the
NFC.
Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals play the Rams, and I just feel like beating the Cowboys. I feel like they got something at least.
Yeah. Now let me ask you guys this question too.
Although they did
Cooper
lose
Kupp-
to Seattle.
Cooper Kupp's not going to win an MVP.
No.
Now let me
it's a
ask you
quarterback's
something.
MVP.
Will we ever see a wide receiver win the NFL MVP? I get it. There was an extra week this week. Amazing, historic season by Cooper Kupp. And he's not going to win MVP. They're going to give it to Aaron Rodgers. That's who they're going to give it to. It's sad, right? Get rid of MVP. Call it the QB award. When is the next time you're going to see a non-QB win this award? Never. It's so rare. It is so rare. When was the last time? Is someone able to look that up? When the past MVPs over 10 years? Are they all quarterbacks?
LT? LaDainian Tomlinson?
No,
Did he win
I think
that?
who was it? There was a defensive one. Was it Rod Woodson? Somebody won as a defensive player.
Charles Woodson?
Charles Woodson.
No, I thought he won the Heisman.
Yeah, but I think somebody won it. Who was the last defensive player? I mean, I'll look it up right now, but I think
Just look out the past 10 years of MVP. Just the 10 years. See if the past decade there's ever been a non-QB to win the MVP. Because I guarantee you it's not. You have players like
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, who, he had a couple, laid an egg last week. But you have these amazing players who just are not getting nominated hard enough. I mean, the top 3 nominations, I think, are all 3 quarterbacks.
The last non-quarterback to win it was in 2012, Adrian Peterson.
Oh, that was a historic season. It's sad, too, that's like...
Interesting.
Those are the stats you need to put up, you know what I mean?
I should have known that.
I mean, God.
He had crazy stats that year. He might have been the only one in the past 3 decades.
Lauren, it's always been
You know what's-
quarterback, running back, quarterback, running back, quarterback. The last defensive player was
So there was never a receiver.
1986, Lawrence Taylor. No receivers ever won it.
When was the last running back before Adrian Peterson?
There wasn't.
I
He
thought
the
it was
first-
LT. Yeah, LaDainian Tomlinson.
This is the rundown.
think.
Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Adrian Peterson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, LaDainian Tomlinson, 2006.
Now just listen to that. You probably read almost 2 decades right there. One running back. Wait, who was that last guy you said?
LaDainian Tomlinson,
Well, I've always-
running back.
2 running backs and what? 10, 15 quarterbacks.
20, yeah, about 15, 15 years roughly.
It's just like there's got to be an award. Is there an offensive player of the year award, right? No, or is it just
Yeah,
offensive
yeah.
rookie? I mean, I get
no,
that.
there's both.
Wow, a fullback. Jim Brown won it as a fullback.
Well, here's a better point, Ty. Why do you have sports writers voting on these? Like that's my biggest problem.
They should
you
let
don't
the
actually have
players.
GMs or
They should let,
or
coaches
players
or coaches,
or,
yeah. And
Yeah.
you can't vote for your own player. Each coach picks 3 players that they want in their MVP talk. That would be I would like that, Ace. Even if they pick quarterbacks, if the coaches think that's the MVP, I like that. Who picks the MVP? It's random writers, right?
Because in offensive, I think offensive player of the year, to your point, is sort of exclusive to like a running back or wide receiver.
Yeah.
So in that regard, they are. We all know MVP without saying it, that it is for a QB for the most part. So you're right. The offensive player is usually the positional player. Yeah. The only guys that get left out all the time, which literally carry the teams, are the linemen.
That's true. That's true too, man. You think about it. But I'm just telling you, man, you watch the Rams games, Cooper Kupp is in 90% of those plays. Like, he is he was the man this year. I think, did him and Matthew Stafford break Calvin Johnson's record? I know they were trying to break it. But it's like the QB to wide receiver receptions and passing yards.
Don't get me started with my freaking rant. The Vikings fans were booing at our home, the final game because Jefferson. They had an opportunity to get Jefferson 17 yards and didn't bother to do that so they waited way at the end of the game. Never got it. The last 2 possessions, never got it.
Let's talk about Black Monday. Shocked everybody.
Well, before you guys go into that, in NFL history, there's only 12 quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls. That's how difficult it is to get to it. You think about names like
one of them.
You think about names like Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, guys like that.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino's never won one.
Drew Brees has only won one. Yeah.
But here's a list.
Yep.
Tom Brady leads the list with 7. Joe Montana with 4. Terry Bradshaw with 4. Troy Aikman 3. Eli Manning with 2. Peyton Manning with 2. Ben Roethlisberger with 2. John Elway 2. Jim Plunkett 2. Bob Greasy 2. Roger Staubach 2. And Bart Starr 2.
Was John Elway good?
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just
But
feel
you
like he wasn't good.
you don't see names on there
Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers,
Patrick
Drew
Mahomes
Brees. Patrick Mahomes gonna be the next one to do it, I think.
Yeah, he'll get 2 at least. But Russell Wilson, you don't see his
Russell
name
Wilson
on there.
could have had 2.
It's amazing. You look at all the talent at quarterback, but it still goes to show you how difficult it is to get there. I mean, just to go through the playoffs. I mean, look at the teams that are in the playoffs. To get to the Super Bowl is it's. You got to be playing your best football now. You can't, because anything now is an excuse. You can't blame injuries. You can't blame COVID. You can't blame anything because now there's ways around COVID. All you got to do is say they feel better. There's no symptoms. They're playing.
Dang.
It's just
that's a great point. They gave the player the option now that they're testing far less. You report symptoms. It's up to you. That's how Cousins sat out. He reported the symptoms.
Now I'm going to tell you, I don't know how they can hide the symptoms because me, my wife, and my son
yeah.
have been struggling the last couple of days with this
great.
damn thing.
I feel
Ty's
great.
the only one in the house, the unvaxxed, that didn't get it.
I feel great. Let's talk about it. Here
We're gonna
go.
get a red flag on YouTube. We'll get a flag on YouTube.
Here
There'll be black sedans out front with a needle to come in and jab them.
we go, Ace. Let's lay it out here. These are the coaches that got the boot. We predicted a lot of these. Matt Nagy walked in the office Monday. They say, "Get out. You're gone. GM gone." Joe Judge walked in. Let's talk about the future with this team. Nope, you're out. GM's retiring. A lot of GM and coaches gone, right? Flores, biggest shock. Flores wanted Deshaun Watson. The GM, Chris Greer, was like, nope, we want 2. We drafted 2. We're going to groom him. You're gone. Brian Flores, gone. Highest candidate probably for head coach right now as a job. Mike Zimmer and your GM, they're gone. We expected that to be happen. And then the Broncos head coach. Out of all those coaches, obviously – Brian Flores is the one that really shocked the whole NFL because you won 8 out of your last 9 games. The Broncos.
I disagree with you. I think the one that
You know
surprised
what?
me the most was Joe Judge.
He sucks. He sucks.
But it's only his second year. That
his
surprised me.
third year, I thought.
Second. That surprised me.
Now, they're saying, this was Ian Rappaport talking, the Broncos head coach, everyone's saying he was a good coach. He had no quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater was iffy, got injured. Drew Lock was up and down. That defense was amazing. You give him a quarterback, that could have been a different thing. You know, they said the foundation was there. They were shocked he got the Brian Flores one. I could see.
He's
I
going to the
understand.
Bears. The Bears won him bad.
Well, the Bears also interviewed Doug Peterson from the Eagles.
Doug Peterson's name's popping up with 5 of the teams already.
Jacksonville is interviewing people left and right. Kellen Moore is hot. Doug Peterson's going to get back in NFL.
Let me ask you guys this.
Brian Flores is going to the Giants.
If you guys had a chance to coach right now, and this was the list of the teams, what would be the most desirable team that you'd go to?
Easy. Actually, it's really hard. I'm just kidding.
Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings or Denver would be mine. Although Denver's in a tough division.
This is so.
I don't know what Denver's cap is like, but I think Denver is probably the best team. And then if you want to go with divisions,
look who you're playing. You're playing the Chargers. You're playing the Raiders. You're playing Kansas City. That's a tough division.
Now the weather's a big thing for me, guys. I don't like the cold. All right, so you got Florida, where you have a very good
Miami.
You got a very good possible good quarterback that could be the next Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck type of guy.
Minnesota's a dome.
They said, though, the best situation, though, for coach right now is probably the Bears. They're like 10th in cap space. You have the foundation there. You got a good young defense.
Soldier Field.
You got a good – it is cold as balls
right on the lake.
Like, I ain't going – you getting another call? Who's calling?
Yeah, I don't know.
Saquon Barkley? I don't know. Like, I think I would either pick the Broncos or the Jags. Ace, I want to tell you something. I was having this discussion.
Jags?
I was having this discussion with my dad. Yeah, the Jags. It's warm.
Well, Ace. Who would you pick?
It is warm.
Who would you pick, Ace? Minnesota?
He's going big Minnesota.
I got to go with Minnesota. Even what's funny, real quick, let me go on my rant with that.
They want to get rid of Kirk Cousins, though.
Well, and that's
I
the
would.
thing. He's
I would.
owed 45 next year. So you either trade him or you consume that and deal with it the year. I don't.
Let me ask you
What's
a question.
What's funny about the Dolphins? I was going to say, I'm nervous about the Vikings organization because the only teams that have come out, or the only rumors coming out after the fact in kind of a negative light toward the coaches, are only pointing to the Dolphins and to the Vikings. Players had come out saying Zimmer basically didn't communicate with them, really wasn't, he was more of a czar, I guess, or like a dictator kind of rule, unfortunately. And look at what they tried to spin on Brian Flores too.
Yeah.
The same sort of, he didn't get along with people, That is not good. Whether it's true or not, that's not good to let that crap leak out. And that's what makes me nervous about both those franchises moving forward. Because the Vikings are in a heap of trouble. Because right now, Cousins, they're like now crap. Like it's just too much crap is getting out the window, and you don't see that with good organizations, sadly.
But you know the thing that sucks is teams that fire their GM and their coach usually don't get a new coach till they find their GM.
Yes.
So by the time you get a GM, all the good coaches might be gone. Like this this whole Jim Harbaugh thing going to the NFL, I would bet my life on it. He just has best year in Michigan, best recruiting class in Michigan. He's up for an extension. This is his agent throwing throwing shit to the wall, whatever sticks, And what's the first thing to do? He's tied to all these different teams. But what's that going to do? That's going to up his price at Michigan. He wants an extension. And look at Franklin's deal. All these coaches getting multiple years for $90+ million. He's not leaving Michigan.
Ace, let me ask you a question. I think Rudy's going to hate me for this. I do not think Kirk Cousins is your quarterback. Here's my thing with Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. We saw that stat-wise this year, especially when he's up for a contract soon. I think he has a great year. You saw that in Washington. He was okay at Washington. When he needed an extension, he had an amazing year. I do not see Kirk Cousins taking you far in the playoffs to win your Super Bowl. I do not. So I ask you the question, do you agree with me? And do you possibly look to drafting a quarterback in this draft the first round? Because the first, I think 11 picks, they don't have a quarterback going in the mock drafts to the 12th or 13th pick right now. If Pickett is there, are you taking him?
I'd take offensive line every pick if I had to this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, we cannot take. I don't know what honestly, I think the more and more that I hear crap come out, I feel like it's more sort of what Rudy was alluding to too. It's more down to the coaching. I think Cousins is a good quarterback. I just think that with Zimmer's number one, Zimmer had a co-defensive coordinator with his son. Like he named as well, I don't even want to get into the dynamics, but basically he was managing the defense, Kubiak on the offense, and it just didn't seem like we really let Cousins out.
That's gotta feel weird. Your dad got fired. You're still there. It's like, am I getting fired?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Maybe even promoted. Who knows? I like Cousins. The contract is way too large, though. That if we can think about reducing that and maybe bring in some offensive line
Get some
free
weapons
agents,
in there for
maybe
him.
or
You
something.
can't reduce it. It's all guaranteed.
Oh my God,
His deal
that's
was
right.
90 some million, all guaranteed. So unless you break it up and you split it up into multiple years,
Well, the cap increases. The cap does increase, I think, but the problem is we're gonna keep them anyways because unless
Minnesota Jaguars are third with 63 million. Who was the other team? Denver Broncos are seventh with 47 million. Who else? Where's Vegas? Vegas is towards the bottom, so they must have had some bad deals.
By the way, just
Ty,
that,
who should my only thing is who do the Vikings go after this time? Because there's no quarterbacks they say in the draft. Do we want to take on Tua? Do we want,
I think that I think this is going to be a very interesting offseason, right? Miami, I think, is going to keep Tua just because they got rid of Brian Flores. But, Russell Wilson's a very interesting situation. I don't think he's going to stay. As much as he wants to say, I want to stay here and play, I don't see Russ staying. Do you take a leap at him? Do the Vikings go after Jameis Winston? Do they go after? I mean, there's Baker Mayfield. Is Baker Mayfield up for his option? Like, there's so many people.
Cleveland came out and said they're keeping Baker Mayfield.
I think I did see that, by the way. I don't know. Like, I also, like, if you're the quarterbacks coming in this draft, do you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder from every single reporter saying the QBs are trash in this draft?
And by the way, the New Orleans Saints are minus $73 million.
We already discussed this. We discussed how much of a genius Mickey Loomis is. To add to the question,
they'll make it work.
Yeah, to add, as you guys were saying earlier, an interesting franchise to be a coach for right now, though, I really want to say the New York Giants, and here's why. The GM just got fired. The coach got fired, right?
It's a bad division.
I feel like, it's typically a bad division, right? Usually one team runs a division, right? So I have the chance as a coach to reset my foundation here. And when you have that opportunity, it feels a lot, right? Obviously, you have a lot of coaches that set the foundation, they get fired. Usually another coach comes in and it ends up being good. I have the chance to go draft a QB, keep Daniel Jones as a backup. Saquon's probably going to go. So let's go get some offensive weapons. Let's go reform this team. Screw I just feel like I think of Madden, for instance, like the game Madden.
Kenny
Like,
Galladay?
to have the option to do that for your team, I think would be fun.
What they need to do is they need to drop a bomb in the middle of the Meadowlands, blow that stadium up, and build two independent stadiums because they suck. Because since 1980, the New York Jets and New York Giants have both slated to pick in the top 6 of the NFL draft together since 1980. 5 times it's happened. In the last 5 drafts, it happened 3 times. That shows you how bad.
Where do you get these
that
stats
shows you
from?
how bad the New York. They're not even New York.
Hold
it's
up.
the New Jersey.
The New Jersey Giants and Jets.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
they're
would not
getting
have to do with
sued by the city of New York, I think. Did you guys hear?
I think we talked about that.
Yeah, I thought we had talked. Yeah. How crazy.
I think all the Giants need, go after Deshaun Watson. You need a slinger.
Do you think he wants to go there, though?
But if you can get yourself your hands on a quarterback that isn't a typical pocket passer like Eli Manning and Daniel Jones, like if you can get an electrifying player out there.
Everyone's worried about his court hearing coming up. I think, unfortunately, that's.
By the way, that
inside
inside source on Daniel Jones, everyone thinks that like Daniel Jones is fine with his neck injury. It was Saquon Barkley that said like, "Oh my bad."
About the neck injury.
About like Daniel Jones possibly like not ever playing football again because like if he takes the wrong hit, like his neck, like he could go paralyzed.
Wow.
Like if I heard that news from a doctor, I'm never playing football again.
Ryan Shazier.
Yeah.
Wasn't.
The organization is going to change once they get a GM. Gettleman stepped down, so they do have pieces there. Don't get me wrong, and they were decimated by injuries and COVID. I think the NFL was.
I think offensive line's huge too.
I think if you look at the
some big boys up there.
If you look at the blueprint,
the foundation's there.
It's there. Like Ace, you said, the draft is loaded with offensive linemen. And defensive people.
It's healthiness, like you said. They never.
And
I think every single year we sit here and say the Giants on paper are going to be a tough team, and within the first 3 weeks, 90% of the team's injured. Just to let you guys know in a quick update, my phone is at 20% after this very long interview we've been going on with. So,
all right, let's break down the playoffs real quick.
Yes.
This week on Saturday we have the Vegas Raiders going against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals have the longest current drought without a playoff win dating back to 1990. The Raiders haven't tasted a postseason victory since 2002. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be in Cincinnati, where it's going to probably be really, really cold. Vegas is used to being in a dome. We're going to find out how good dome teams are outside.
All I'm saying is that Vegas game with the Chargers was very interesting. The Chargers coach calling a play on his own 18 in the third quarter to go for it on fourth down. And then the long snapper of the Raiders telling Eckler that, hey, we were thinking about taking a knee before you guys called timeout. And then Montgomery was like, screw this, guys. Was it Montgomery? Is that who's on the
Jacobs.
Jacobs is like, screw this. I'm going to run a 20-yard run and get a first down and kick the field goal. Could you imagine Steelers fans sitting there like, oh, my gosh.
Well, let's pick this game real quick. I'm going with Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati has a lot of momentum. They have a great quarterback, and what they're doing up there is shocking the Cincinnati nation, the real Who Dat nation.
Okay.
And, that's the one that started. So I'm taking Cincinnati. Ace, if you want to document these picks.
Yes. I got Cincinnati, too. I think both have clutch kickers, too, and if it comes down to something like that, I trust that both kickers are going to cash in. So.
I'm going to lone wolf this one. Raiders are going to pull out a win. Derek Carr posted a photo of him with an ankle injury last time they made the playoffs to sitting here right now, cry on the field. Derek Carr is putting everything on this game. You have an intern head coach, first time ever taking them to the playoffs. The Raiders are coming in, baby. Burrow and the Bengals had a little bit of a week to rest. You know, all I'm saying is we talked about resting players, and the Raiders are coming in hot.
All right, the next game is New England against Buffalo, and it's going to be 0 to 5 degrees with wind gusts up to 14 miles an hour. Allen threw it 47 times in the last time they met. Will New England take the reins off of mac and cheese? I mean, that's the big question. I mean, the last time he was up in Buffalo.
Last time they played, they won, though.
Last time they were in Buffalo, though, he threw three passing attempts.
I think all that matters, though, is
fewest in history. My thing is
it's got to be the toughest one.
Buffalo is 11-1 in the division the last 2 years. They have consecutive titles. It's the first time they've done it since the 90s, basically. Me personally, I think Josh Allen wins this game. I think he's going to win it with his legs and his arm, and I think it's going to be too much for mac and cheese with the wind, with being up in Buffalo, Orchard Park in the winter. I mean, there's nowhere else worse you can play, really. I think this is going to be a landslide. It's going to be Buffalo.
I agree. I think Buffalo wins this game, but don't be surprised if Mac Jones shows up in the wetsuit again to stay warm from the cold, and he goes out there. Just remember, he may have threw three passes, but who came out with the win on top of that game? Patriots did. You watch out for those Patriots. I predict them to go to the Super Bowl. I think the Buffalo needs to win this game, but watch.
Yep.
Ace, who do you got?
I got the Bills as well.
It's a
I can't pick any upsets yet.
I just think I applaud Belichick for what he did this season, but I just think it's going to be too much. It's going to be an atmosphere that this kid's never seen before, and I think it's going to be too much. The Alabama
championship game wasn't a big atmosphere.
Next game is number 7, the Eagles at number 2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is the battle of the number 1 rush defense against the number 1 rush offense. I mean, the Eagles are averaging 154.7 yards per game, and Tampa Bay is only giving up 85.6. They've only allowed 2 100-yard rushers
number 2
all year.
rush defense. Saints were number 1.
And it was Josh Allen was one of those guys. They get Fournette coming back.
Wow.
They got some of their defensive weapons coming back. They did beat Philly 28-22. I'm going to go on a limb here.
Me too. I'm feeling it too. I'm feeling it too.
The Eagles are going to upset Tampa Bay.
I'm feeling, the way that Tampa Bay played against the Jets and the way they played against the Saints, I think the Eagles are the hot team here. Yeah. I really do.
Eagles are a scary team. The Eagles remind me of Tampa Bay from last year where they didn't beat a team over 500. They got to the playoffs. They went on a great run. RPOs are going to kill this defense. I just think that it's going to be too much, and I think it's going to be – I think – Eagles fans are going to be shocked that Jalen is going to do a lot of it, not with just his legs. He's going to do it with his arm.
I think if the Eagles can get Miles Sanders' offensive plays going and Jalen Hurts running around and Smith open, I see the Eagles upsetting this one.
I mean, if you guys are going to give me the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
you can have them.
I'm going to take them. I'll take them this time.
Godwin, they're missing a lot of the good players. Tom Brady's going down.
That is the sneakiest pick, but I gotta feel like I gotta give the Bucs a victory. Oh, my throat is killing me right now.
It's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
The Pittsburgh Steelers going against
Just skip this one. Just skip this one. Just skip this one.
I think this is Ben's last hurrah. I offensively, I don't think they stand a chance.
No.
I don't think they're going to do anything against this. Going to Arrowhead where it's going to be cold. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes' backyard, 14-mile-an-hour winds. We did say that's going to help Ben.
We're saying this
a
and
little
watch
bit.
them upset the Chiefs.
They did get blown out 36-10 when they went there. I just think this is the last hurrah for Ben. And I think, I don't think Pittsburgh stands a chance.
I think they put up a little bit
TJ
of
Watts on that
yeah.
team to help
I think
them
they
out.
put up a little bit of a fight at first, but I think Kansas City's going to win this by a landslide. Ace?
Yep. Chiefs, like I mentioned earlier, the Giants, same with the Giants giving up, or they haven't scored more than 10 points all year in the first half in any game. Steelers are not that far off from that in starting fast. So they're going to need to start fast, and I don't think that's possible because they haven't done it all year. So Chiefs, yeah.
I like that. That's all the games?
Next game is the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. This has been a freaking back and forth between them two all season long. You have the Cardinals who were 10-2. I mean, they're the last team undefeated to lose a game in Week 7, and then they were 10-2, and they went to that slump. They're not going to have D-Hop back. Nuke's not playing in this game, but I think they still have enough weapons. I think the momentum is back. I think, Kyler Murray looks like the old Kyler Murray, and I think the way the Rams are playing right now, they're sloppy. Stafford's been throwing a lot of interceptions. I mean, this is his first playoff game ever. I think it's going to be too much for him, and I think the Arizona Cardinals go on cruise control, and they make a mockery of this one. They won big.
I think the Cardinals win 27-10.
Yeah. The ace.
I wanted to pick the Cardinals, but I'm also like, hey, if you're gonna let me pick the Rams, maybe I'll just go opposite.
You pick what your
I'll
heart
pick the
desires.
Rams. I'll pick the Rams. They signed Stafford out of my favorite division, the NFC North, because the Vikings play in that division. So I gotta root for the division here. Matthew Stafford leads
dat?
the Rams
Who dat with a question mark? Who dat?
to a victory. They are playing at home, by the way. I know they're. I think
They
the Cardinals
choked
are
at
better
home
on
last
the road,
week.
but yeah, true. Yeah, that's correct. They're in a perfect environment. There's no home field advantage there, but I'm gonna still go Rams. Just play opposite here, sadly.
And the last game is probably the best game of the weekend. And I know I'm not saying this just because of who I am. I know the rivalry of these two teams. And if you're an older generation and it goes back to the 70s, the 80s, and 90s, there's a lot of nostalgia here. I mean, you had some big names that played in these games, and this was usually the game that took you to the Super Bowl. It's going to be the 49ers who are riding high, won 4 or 5. They're playing solid football, just came back from a 17-point deficit to take on the division-winning Dallas Cowboys. I'm going with Dallas. I really am, and I have to because it's my team. Am I afraid?
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm afraid. This is the playoffs. This is win or go home. And if our offense flutters and stalls and doesn't play, I mean, we struggled against the Eagles' second and third string defensive line, and we struggled getting pressure on their quarterback that had second and third string players playing. So if we can't get the Jimmy G and we can't stop the run, it's going to come down to a shootout and we're going to be in trouble. Dallas could be upset at home.
You're going to turn the TV on, and you're going to see a lot of red in that Dallas stadium. I'm telling you.
No.
Remember when you played Denver and it was a lot of orange in that stadium?
That's because the season ticket holders sold their tickets. I mean, they're making money off their tickets. I guarantee you're going to see more blue than red in this game. But my thing is if Dallas offense is clicking, and I said this before, if our offense is clicking, there's nobody in this NFL that can beat us. As long if we don't beat ourselves.
I agree.
If they're not clicking, and it comes down to our kicker, we're in trouble.
Do you hear this?
But I'm taking Dallas. I'm taking Dallas.
This is the sound.
I'm taking Dallas.
This is the sound of Dallas not clicking, and the 49ers walking in there with a W.
You can have it.
A part of me wants to pick the 49ers just so that the Cowboys win, because every team I pick, the opposite wins.
They're getting 3 points.
Wow. What was that?
They're giving 3 to the 49ers.
Oh, I thought you said the 49ers are getting only 3 points in that game.
That's all they're getting. They're getting no, they're going to score more than 3, but I'm saying Vegas is giving them 3.
I just realized I picked every single home team.
And pick
God.
then pick the Cowboys.
I'm going to pick the Cowboys. Yep, Cowboys.
Go Cowboys! It's terrible.
How about them boys?
How about them Cowboys?
That was the last game, right? How about them?
That was the last game, right?
Yes, because the Titans and Packers have a bye this week.
All right, so before my phone dies, why don't you take us away with your quick 6?
Oh, God. Oh my. Well, I mean, you're gonna put me on the spot here with these matchups. I basically gave you guys.
I mean, hey, if you want to end it with those,
Unless-
that's fine.
Yeah, unless. Yeah, because there's too many. Like the Vikings, I could give you GMs or like head coaches, but I'd give you 3 of each, and I don't even know.
That's fine because
who the heck a
I
GM is.
think Mama Klein over there is a little upset that we've been podcasting for so long. She just walked by really fast. So
She walked through with the puppy in her arms.
I think that's
That
where we.
means the puppy
I
has
think
to go
that's
out.
yeah. I think that's where we end the podcast
That's it.
today.
Good.
Wow, that was a great
Makes sense.
podcast today. We're almost hour and 15 in. Hour and 15 in. That was a great. Our first time interviewing someone on Zoom.
NBA real quick though.
this guy.
Klay Thompson came back after 941 days being out. He had scored 20 points. This guy tore his Achilles and came back and tore his ACL in different legs. I mean that's amazing to come back after that. So it's good to see him back. Ja Morant, just watched, man.
Ja Morant.
Memphis is on a tear. They won 10 in a row. They're legit. I mean they're a good team.
Wow.
But other than that,
That's it.
That's it.
It was a
That's a wrap.
pleasure today. We had Savanna on our first ever guest on Zoom. This podcast just keeps getting better and better, guys. I love our team we have here. Ace, this is amazing. It's amazing. Oh.
See a lot of Zeke. See a lot of Zeke eating. Let's
We-
see Zeke eat this weekend.
Well, we hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and we can't wait to continue to make more. Have a great time.
Bitch.